Thank you very much for your kind invitation, Rosie, and thank you all the team. And thank you for being here and listening to me. I'm very sorry to be late, and it's like a very kind of Brazilian thing that people expect we are late, but I'm normally not late. So yeah, I choose this word MOTTAINAI, and I will explain why. And maybe some of you already know this word. So who knows this word? Hey, right? Good. It's good. I am talking about something new for many of you. I'm happy. And so actually, I in this presentation, I wanted to talk about how I do connect food, art, and sustainability. And I thought I will explain why I use food as a medium for my work, being as a book author or a chef or an artist or a curator, why I work with food. And as we know, like here probably, the food is connected to many crises that we are experiencing at the moment, directly or indirectly. So like the extinction of animals, as for an instance, in my country, as for example, the place where I was born is left only 2% of the forest, the original forest. And this place has been replaced by sugarcane plantation. And so within the forest, all the indigenous people, all the animals, the plants, and the culture, the indigenous culture that used to live there. So we are talking about hunger, we are talking about immigration, right? The immigration crisis, because many people, people are looking for food security. It's one of the big reasons why we have like the migration crisis, or like the climate change or environmental degradation, deforestation. So as food has this big impact in our world and society, I thought it would be a good thing to use it as a power tool for change. But actually, I wanted to, before we go into like my work, I wanted to start before why I personally decided like doing something about. So we are going like back into my childhood, and I was born and raised in Brazil. And in Brazil, it's like, as we would have two words, where a few have a lot, and a lot of people have a little or nothing. And it's like a kind of, these two words would be separated. But in my life, I was lucky to be born as a daughter of an artist. And my mom is Japanese, born in Brazil, but she was a teacher for art and literature, and she always cared about people. And as for example, she would, like, instead of sending me to play with the kids of my school, I would play with the daughter of Dona Antônia, Adriana, in the favela. Or she would always tell me, if we have enough to live, which we should share with others. And it was not about money, it was about giving something, like my time. And as a kid, I perceived that as for example, I thought the garbage men, they do a beautiful work, right? They clean our cities, and so I was really excited about their work, and they were my heroes with like this big car with lights. So I would go every day at 6 p.m. when they came and sing for them. Or I would collect all the cats in the streets and take care of them until we had 13 cats, and my mom said, that's enough. And so Dizzy, you see, like we were like really happy. I was like my father's friend. They were always wearing colorful clothes, and they had an idea and they would realize this idea without being afraid of anything. And it happened when I was 11 years old. My father died, and within him, we lost all our security, like financial security. So my mom would have to sell the artworks and sell everything. From one day to the other, we had like nothing but rice on our table. And it was a very, very hard time for my mom, and I have to say we were still very happy, because sometimes I'm afraid to say something that sounds like very tragic, and then, what I decided including this in my presentation, because I think when we talk about our personal stories, it's like the message is much stronger. It's not like then you see me and then you say, she did this, this, and this, and she's doing that, and then, without the context why I'm doing this and why I really care about something, right? And so I decided to help my mom because she could not work anymore, and she got a breakdown. So I started working, and I would come back here. Sorry, my presentation I wanted to change a little bit. And because I wanted to come back here when I started working with 11 years old to help my mom. And with 13, I had my first job outside home. I was working at the radio station as assistant of production. And there you see me working at the TV, so I work as a producer assistant. And I took all kind of jobs. I had I work as a model, and I was very ashamed to say I did that. This is also something new that I included on my presentation, because I don't think I should be because in Brazil we say, okay, if you're a woman, it's already hard. Then if you're pretty, and then if you're a model, it's like sort of, she's not able to do something. And I was really I was able to do many things. I must say I'm not perfect in anything, but I can do many things. And because I got all these jobs, I had the opportunity to work as a model. Now I'm standing here in the front of you, kind of nervous, but I'm still, I know, everything, how it works, how it's how I should stand here. So that helped me somehow. And every single thing I did, even if it was doing crazy performances with artists, putting lipsticks on the bells or really crazy funny stuff, I still, I think we should be proud of what we have done, and then see the positive things, and that helped me somehow to do what I'm doing. And then I wanted to tell you how the food sort of came very, very strong in my life. When I was 19 years old, I opened my own restaurant with partners. And I didn't know what I was doing, actually, very much. We just, my partner had an idea, and then we found investors, and the restaurant was a success from the first day. We had, every day open, 365 days in a year for lunch and dinner. And I was the only Japanese part in this Japanese restaurant from non-Japanese people. So my work was to translate Japanese culture for the guests. And as a director of marketing and communication, I sort of what I did was to bring my word, the art, to the restaurant. So I did installations, and I did exhibitions. I told the chef, we are doing a floating exhibition. I want to serve floating dishes. And then he said, you were crazy. You don't know what you're saying. And I said, well, I got an amazing opportunity. I got olive oil importer, and he wants to make our bottle of olive oil with our logo and the recipe in the back. And he said, Japanese food with olive oil, it's no way. And or Japanese vegetarian, and he said, no, that's impossible. And so I thought, in my, like, I'm very naive, and I thought, okay, I go to the university and I train as a chef de cuisine, so I'm going to learn his language. And I would tell him, this is possible, like doing like this and like that. But as you might imagine, in the gastronomic world, it's like really, really hard for women, and it's like when you're young, you're not respected. And then even if I had my diploma, I formed in the best university, which is connected to Paul Bocuse in France. He said, you have no experience. So I could not do it, and I had to always hire other chefs that would have problems in the restaurant to do something. So I, after 9 years doing the restaurant, which then became 3 restaurants and a fashion label, which I designed, in one of the interviews I gave, someone asked me, why you're doing this? What is important for you? And actually I thought then that actually everything that my parents taught me, it was not part of my life anymore. Because in Brazil, when you have a business, it's sort of like being criminal, because you have to make a different, you cannot declare everything, or the partners have other ideas, or the partners, they want to earn more money, and you don't want to share with everybody. There's no democracy, or no sort of growing together. These models of the that we live now, it's very hard when it goes to business. But here in Germany, I know one person that is really inspired and really can do something, a good product, run the business, do something good and give back. And so this was when I came to Germany, when I didn't find any answer in Brazil. So I decided to look inside myself, and I'm half Japanese, and I don't know anything about my culture. I can't speak Japanese, because in Brazil it was forbidden to speak Japanese after the Second World War. So my mom was stoned on the streets because she was the enemy. And I could not speak with my grandmother. She could only speak Japanese and was forbidden. We could not wear Japanese clothes. So that's why I'm always wearing these clothes to honor, these people that are my ancestors that suffered so much to be in a land where it was their land, but they were not welcome there. So I discovered this word MOTTAINAI, which is a Buddhist Japanese word and refers to reduce, reuse, recycle. But it's also a way to say thank you. So I was really curious about this word. I was really thinking, how can a word mean so much? And it's in so holistic, this word Japanese use before eating, itadakimasu. It's also a Buddhist word, and it's saying thank you to every single person that was part of the process of bringing the food in front of you. But not only the people, but the nature, the water, and all the resources. And so it's a beautiful thought. And even if I was in Brazil, and when you grow up thinking there's something wrong with you, you're half the enemy or something. And sort of my mom suffered a lot with this, right? So it was for me a wonderful surprise to discover that within me there's a culture that is beautiful, even if there is all the bad stories together, right? So I came to Germany And I started researching this word, MOTTAINAI, which brought me to make these 2 books against food waste. The first book is focused on bread, because I founded this sponsor, Joachim Weckmann, is this person that I told you before that is doing good breads with local ingredients, organic. He pays like a fair. People are happy to work for him and work with him, and he helps like 5 different non-profit organizations, non-government organizations around the world, and it's like a really like inspiring to see that a business can work and can operate. You can make money and you can sort of like help the others and help the planet. So this is the sponsor of my first book, and he has like this bread factory. And this is the second book, which is focused on this, exploring this concept of MOTTAINAI. And I wanted in this book to show like how beautiful, or how leftovers or what we consider waste can be totally different shaped and then become a new meaning or like a new life, such as these spills that we normally throw away. And so this, I just put like some kind of examples to to give you an idea how we wanted to actually stage how like food actually it's even if it's it's like not beautiful for some, but it can look tasty for others, or how still if you have a little you can do a lot, and this kind of ideas. And or I don't know if you know about another concept, Buddhist concept, call it kintsugi. It's when an object is broken, they stick together with gold. Yeah. So this is like to show that actually this object has much more value than before, and it's like not something that it is not a waste, it is still useful. And these are like concepts that I wanted to bring into the food, into these leftovers ideas, such as like when you have a little rice leftovers, sort of what can you do with that? Or you have one piece of cake and then you have 3 guests. So what you can do with that? So you can break apart, put some juice on it, and then you make like pops, these cake pops, right? And then everybody can get some bite. And you don't need to throw away this piece of bread because it's like just too little or because it's not enough. Like this kind of ideas. And I also thought exploring within my work how you can give meaning for the food and how you can make people think about what they are eating. And so I created the whole experience around the food. So let's say on this picture is like a piece of earth. It's a soil pie. And I think maybe some of you play it in the sandbox when you're a kid with making cakes. So I did that and I really enjoy it. And I enjoyed eating this. I still remember the taste of the sand. And my mom was not happy with that because I got some worms and she didn't like, but I did wonderful experiences eating the plants and tasting cafes, for example, this coffee bean. It's I thought that when a company asked me to create an experience about the future, and I started thinking, how is the future of food? There would be one possibility, we are too busy, we don't have time to eat, so we get supplements from the pharmacy. And the second is like we are really sick, and then, you know, doctors need to come and feed us. Or we eat the food of the astronauts, you know, they eat like quinoa, for example. And then I started researching about all the possibilities for our food in the future. And one of the possibilities is that we come back to the roots, that we do, like there's an anthropologist in Brazil, Antônio Viveiros de Castro, and he says, he talks about the Indianization. I don't know if it makes sense in English, but it's like being like indigenous people again. So how do they did before? They had, they have to source their food from the forest, from locally, and of course they would not destroy the forest to take the food, and then there's nothing that they can live. So these agroforest models and like eating organic, local, seasonal, so this is sort of like a really like something that could really like be the future, and it's like something that people actually like. This kind of cuisine that I'm researching in the Buddhist Japanese philosophy is more kind of a philosophy, call it Shojin Hyori. It's also like 3,000 years old, and it's also talking about all these trends, like everybody's talking about the trends, like the food trends. And also I participated at a study about the food trends, and it's actually everything written there, and the indigenous people knew before. So I created this dish to sort of like, when people came expecting, the future very fancy and white and, robots serving. And so I got like farmers serving this kind of things. I like to think and I like to bring people into, out of their comfort zone to think about. If it's like positive, and some people, like when I did this experience, there are some people that think like, it's really cool, and there are some people that think it's like, oh, I was expecting something else, So I think the important thing is that people are thinking about So I also incorporate like on my work, like if I do an artwork, or if I do the book, or if I do like whatever I'm doing, I'm always considering all these things that are present in our like cultural heritage, the fermentation and other preservation methods. And this is also something that we are losing. And I was like recently in Greece, because I'm preparing myself to participate at a conference. It's about food as a cultural heritage. I'm talking about that, and I was really like shocked to see all these pillars of our civilization, and the fundaments, the essential fundaments of our that we know here, right? Like, confronted with all these crises are very, very apparent. You can see like everything is broken. You can see like many people on the streets, like the refugee crisis, and you can see like, yeah. And I was like, that really like brings to my mind. And then even if it's like hard, I feel like there's a motivation in there, because like with the foods we can change so much, because we eat like 3 times a day. So it's like 3 times chance to change things that we don't want to see or to experience, that we don't want in our planet. So this is like sort of somehow motivating for me, because I see people, anyone can do it, can cook and can make better decisions. And it's like, again, not connected to the money, because many people think, but Tainá, you're talking about eating organic, it's much more expensive. But but no, I mean, like, if you cook yourself, and if you're like if you're mindful with your ingredients, with your food, it's not more expensive. It's just like a myth. And I can say, because I'm doing that, I'm trying this, and I had, as for example, I'm talking about food waste. Is not only talking about this piece of tomato, but also the whole thing, right? The packaging. So my mom said to me some years ago, you want to fight against this, so you do it yourself. We don't throw away anything. And suddenly our home was like full of garbage, just like this, just because you want to eat some sort of, like, you want to eat rice. I am like half Japanese. I need to eat rice, and then rice comes in the packaging. You want to eat tofu, that comes in the packaging, and everything, it's like coming in a plastic packaging, right? And if you want to eat dried fruits or dried something, it's also on the packaging. And this is like something that, it's when you do it yourself, you are like more conscious about the challenges that in general what can, like, people are going to experience, and also come back to me and saying, Tainá, but all these ideas, they don't work because, and I want that they work. So I'm the scientist, and I'm using myself as the I don't know. Experiment. Yeah. Yeah, so this is me like trying to dry some stuffs, because in Japan they dry everything, and also there's this belief of, the energy of the sun. It's also like something that increase, and there's like also this spiritual aspect that I really enjoy. Yeah, so talking about the bio, regional, and seasonal, this is, I don't know if you know about this model, solidarity agriculture. Yes, so some of you shake your head. So it's like amazing. So it's possible to eat organic and to support like small farmers, and also like to give something back to the nature. Because we know that what monoculture and the genetic modified seeds, what they did to us, right? So when you're part of a community that is supporting the farmer, and the farmer can produce on demand for this community, locally, organically, and of course season, so you avoid a lot of problems, or you reduce tremendously the impact that we have in our planet, because sort of you don't have the transportation, CO2, you don't have the packaging, you don't have the food waste, because everything that you produce, you're going to eat. So what is more expensive in the process of producing food? The people working, right? So this model is like works because the community goes to the fields and help the farmer twice in a year, and or sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends on the solidarity agriculture model, but this one that I'm part of, it's like this. And if you cannot afford this time, you pay the fee. But the idea of going to the field is genius, I think, because it's also a very, very big part of educating people on the matter of the value of the food. Once you know from where the seeds come from, you know the forts, how much sun, how much everything it demands to produce your food, there's a different value. And when kids learn and they have fun, they have contact with the nature, that's also something that increase potentially the impact in many different crises. Because when you practice a solidarity, you are part of a total. You are working together with the planet, with the sun, with the rain. it's not only you, about you, like what we have learned, what normally we learn in our society or in the schools, that you have to be the best and you have to make like the notes for the exams and so on. It's like it's about the whole thing, you know. Then everybody is going to share what is there. So I think this is also like very important in the educational aspect. Yeah, and then I don't know if I mentioned it before, that when I came to Germany, I looked for the answers, just making like sort of, I was looking for the answers, what to do with my life, what would be meaningful. And then I discovered the MOTTAINAI, I discovered Shojin Hiyori. I went to Japan and I wanted to learn more, but then I was not accepted in any temple, because this kind of like philosophy is only taught in temples. And so one temple accepted me actually, and they said, okay, you have to learn Japanese, you have to be able to stay here 1 year, and you need to be able to do all the work, cleaning, having the cold shower, and everything. So I accepted the challenge, and I moved to Düsseldorf, where here in Germany the biggest Japanese community lives. But then I got pregnant, and it was not possible anymore to follow this dream. And but out of like many challenges that I have, I decided moving to Berlin, and I got a job offer in a very exciting restaurant, like a vegetarian gourmet restaurant. And then when I moved here, they said, no, we don't have the job for you. And yeah, my life is full of these stories. And it was like sort of in Berlin in winter, 1 meter snow on the streets, and no one. I knew just only one person. And out of this worst case scenario, I realized that the only chance I had to survive would be to do my own projects. So I started doing my own ideas, and I created this event called Share Your Food, which is an event that I ask people to share what they believe could make our world a better place. And with the answers, I print a magazine, an art magazine. And then I got to know my first sponsor, my first event, like the NPR radio was there, and like I got many people coming. And they really enjoyed. I got an invitation to perform these at the Guggenheim Lab, and it was like just happening. But it still was kind of something difficult for some people to understand when I put food into an art context, and I said, food, art, sustainability, you know, like that's genius, because food and art, both universal languages that can promote positive change. And, you know, to talk about sustainability matters, but people would say, no, food is not art, and they would be very, like, close. And also the chefs, they said, what we are doing is art. So it was difficult to start. So I said, okay, I'm going to open my own space, and I opened a gallery, a contemporary art gallery with a kitchen integrated. And there I started exploring these different ideas, working with scientists, with environmentalists, with like students, giving them a place to show their ideas. And this, as for example, was one installation I did about the plastic in the oceans. And it was like, this was the setup, and I had like one wave, like that was really like a very, very immersive experience. And then I had like underwater sounds created by an artist called Jasmine Gouffon. And this was one of the most visited exhibitions I had. And then kids would come and say, what is this? And I would just say, like, just come inside and just feel it, and then just they would say like, yeah, I feel I'm in the ocean and I know like how this plastic world, and I said yes, and this is like the jellyfish, and this is exactly the vision the animals, like turtles, as for example, they eat jellyfishes. So they see this and they go and to eat it, and then they die. And then they were like, okay, yes. And then some came back and with like the whole school class, or the others came and said like, I am now vegetarian. I don't eat fish anymore. Or yeah, it was wonderful to see like how powerful it was, like because they did this experience, and was something I was looking for, because here in Germany I work in 3 different schools, like public schools. I work in the suburbs. I work even in France in suburbs with kids, even if I don't speak French. It's like a miracle, but I think when you want, it's like if you have the motivation, like people are going to understand, and things happen. And then they, in France, this project, as for example, the kids, they said that there are problematic kids, they cannot keep attention, and with me, they meditate, they do everything. And I really feel like, these challenges that we live now, like sometimes we just like have so many obstacles, right? We think like, how you can make like kids, as for example from Germany, that we live in this superficial world. It's like a bubble, right? You have everything all the time. They don't have empathy like for the others. They don't see the suffering of the others. And like some of them, right? And I'm not talking general, but even my son, sometimes I wonder and I think like, I have to bring him to Brazil and I have to show him. I had only one toy, one Barbie that I got from a friend of my mom, and he has so many toys, and sometimes I wonder how can I raise my son in like fighting against all these, the consume and everything that I am like this unbalanced world, right? And I cannot bring my son to Brazil, and I cannot make him experience, or all the kids, right? If all the kids would go and see the world outside this bubble, that would be amazing. That would be like something, because actually, what I think is that the change, the place where like the change is made, it sounds a bit kitschy, but it is in this place that happens our deep emotions. I don't know, some people call it hard, right? And this is the place where when people are like touched there, they are able to do anything or everything. And this is what happened there in this installation. So I saw I could bring through the art the people in the ocean of plastic. I could bring them there and I could make them feel how it is. And some people would change, would feel touched. And so I thought this is something powerful. And as I worked a lot with kids and I work with nutrition, sugar came into my life. And I wanted to make myself free of sugar, and my son too. So I've been researching about how to make it without sugar. And I got like some ideas that I tried also through my experience with art and with the kids. I just like explore these these recipes with them, and I discovered that actually it is possible. Sometimes we needed to be a bit more insistent, because like I have some groups of kids that they say, I eat donuts every day and look, I'm healthy, I'm good, I'm fine. And and then you know like what you're talking about. The sugar causes depression and liver disease, obesity, caries, and everything. No, I don't have anything. I'm fine. And so it's sometimes hard because we created like a lot of barriers, like and like sort of boxes, and I think it's hard to make people to take sometimes people out of the boxes. So I'm really focusing in like telling people all these stories and showing that actually anyone can do it, and it's easy, and it can look like really like this, and really like involving the kids into the process, and thinking like more and more that as a global citizens, we in the times that we are living, we don't have time anymore to do something that is not mindful and not meaningful. And I think when I talk about my work, I think people can see, you know, like I came here without speaking German and English. I work in France with kids that don't speak French, and even if I'm like sometimes like you know, like I have like my limitations. I am trying, you know, and it's not like about like just being like Greta, but just, you know, doing something. And I think like this notion of that the time it's too fast. It's like it's happening in a different way that we are normally used to perceive it. It happened with my son, because like the future when he was born, it was not anymore like there, you know, the future is like the future, it's now, and it's like just by my side every day. And so I think this makes us like perceive the world and the urgency of doing something in a different way. So even if you don't have your own kids, working with kids gives you or opens these perspectives. So I did a chapter of my second book with my son, with his favorite recipes. And I wanted to say that I'm looking for a publisher because maybe you have different nationalities, and I wanted to publish the book in other languages because it's just in German and it's very limited from like what people can understand. And this is sort of some kind of like works that I'm doing. So I work with different institutions or organizations, universities. I'm guest teacher. I don't have a diploma as a teacher, but I'm guest teacher at the Slow Food University in Italy, at the Design University in Netherlands. And here in Berlin, I work with UDK and Weissensee-Kunsthochschule. And I'm also volunteering, working a lot with public schools. And I work with, this is like me working with Greenpeace, and we created an like action to protect Amazonas. And it was really, really beautiful and powerful. Or there, it's in the Guggenheim Lab. There's like with the Market Halle 9 and the Georgi Kaiser, the owner of Bio Company, which is like also a great support of my work. And this is a project, Time Bank, Time Food, from Julieta Aranda and Anton Vidocq, that wanted to document in Kassel. So I like the idea of working with different people, like from artists and environmentalists or politicians, or because I think it's really hard for us now to find answers. It's not like anymore, you know, like that old times that you went like 8 years walking and then you find your master and then you ask your master and he gives you all the answers. So, yeah. So this is like also some kind of like just, even if my English is broken, my German is broken, I keep talking and talking about like what I have experienced, and I think this is also helps, like can help, and I have good positive feedbacks that that people felt more sort of like, yeah, I feel like empowered. I feel like I can do something. Or I will start. I have groups in Brazil that they started doing some workshops, that they started doing some similar activities, or yeah. And these are the things that I create with students from all kind of different backgrounds. And this is the group in the France from Red Star Football Club, from the suburbs, that we don't speak the same language, but somehow we communicate. And this is like sort of this kind of love communication. I don't know how it happens. I cannot explain everything, but yeah, this and this is one special project I created, because I felt sort of like. If I really want to affect change, I have to create a community, and we have to be many. And I wanted to create a platform to bring all these people together. And I sort of invited some people here in Berlin, and galleries, and in these projects like Prinzessinnengarten, Markthalle 9, farmers, and then I made it an open call because I wanted to make it democratic. And then we were 100 people from all over the world. And people would write to me and say, we know you don't have money, but we are coming. We are applying for grants, and we are coming. We are joining you. And then we had 60 events, 40 locations, and 10,000 visitors the first year. And then I have been traveling. We did Paris 2 times. The Paris last time, we had a location that received like 5,000 people a day over the weekend. And then I realized that numbers are nothing, because like from all these cool hipsters, many people, they didn't really understand what we are trying to do, or then some people got really drunk and they didn't care about the artwork. So we had all the volunteers and me protecting the works for many, many hours. So nowadays I think it's better to work with 10 motivated students and not like having these numbers that only works for sponsoring. And so the Food Art Week is like, it's growing in every direction. So we got like to work with Federation Square in Melbourne. So we got our movies in this big screen for the whole month last year, in September, in Mexico City, in Oaxaca. And it's very polemic and very disruptive project, because sort of, as for example, the images you see, we are talking about sugar, and we are not saying like putting like a candy and saying, hey, come to our event. We're talking about sugar, but we are just like extinction. And then there's like consumers can change, or sugar is so addictive as cocaine, or we are saying like the plastic world. If you want to reduce plastic, stop consuming it, or the climate change and fast food, or the luxury that we live, having all this packaging, all this lifestyle, and then all around us is like sort of destroy it, right? Dry. So, is this the price that we want, or we are like there? You see the donuts, they have like a different disease that you can develop if you consume too much sugar, and so you can pick yours. And talking about antibiotics in water, because this was really shocking. I had a conversation with the president of Berliner Wasserbetrieb, the water company, and it was really shocking, and this is something that if we don't change the way we consume food, they cannot help us out. They have already 60 scientists trying to clean up the water, but that's not possible. So we needed to understand that we have to do something, and we have this power to do something, and we cannot wait for politicians or I don't know, someone to say, you know, to find the answer. I think we have to do ourselves, and we can do that with our food 3 times a day. So you can choose doing this like 1 time in a week, and then more and more. You know, it doesn't need to be like suddenly and getting crazy to change everything, right? Even if I do think if some of us would do that, would be great. So so here I just put some artworks that I have been doing. So sort of like this globe is it was a globe with the amount of bread that each of us threw away a year, because what we eat or don't eat influences the whole world. So I invited people to save the bread and then do something with the bread. Or I have this luxury, the word is luxo, is luxury, and lixo, there's the 2 words in one. Or talking about the meat waste, which is the impact is much larger than any other. And this is it was a work I did in collaboration with the garbage management company in Berlin, the Berliner Stadtreinigung, which is also a great supporter. And yeah, or like animals disappearing, and this is made with food. Or this was another work I did for Spiegel magazine. They invited me to answer some questions with art. So there's like the globe with the food and some thoughts on that. Yeah, this is the bread installation. Or this other installation was about the distance that the food needs to travel to reach us here. And I did it on the streets, and I always get a lot of problems because I was blocking. Yeah, and the food art week also, like there was like we did Bologna food art week, and the Pope was about to come, and our flyers were designed by Jorge Chamorro, and it was like the Pope with a burger on the face. And we spread all these. I was not aware. No? We spread all these and this, posters and everything. And then one day I got groups of people coming with the flyer. What do you have against the Pope? And the police came and they wanted to arrest me because they thought I was planning to throw burgers on the face of the Pope. It's always like very adventurous. The behind the scenes. Yeah. Yeah, so plastic in packaging.
This installation is amazing.
Yeah, I serve the water menu inside it. Maybe we can do here, so can do in Berlin again. I serve like fermented water, vaporized water, frozen water, water in different consistencies, like even like fire and water, it's also possible. Fired water, yeah. And I wish this could be always on somewhere, that people, because it's so powerful. And I did also in Austria this installation, and in Paris, and was like really like people can understand without that I say a word. And I think this is something that we should consider, because one day we all here, we will not be here anymore. So what we are living. So it's good that there's like like there would be things that we can like all together live here, like as a good footprint. Yeah, and then my work brought me to do like this was last year. I said, because many people said, okay, Tainá, you're doing this, and then you do, it's like, there's the elite that likes art and want to see art, and then the food, and then you have these food experiences, and there's sort of like a lab, because sort of like I work with the public schools, I'm volunteering, I'm working, dedicating my time, I do like regularly with a friend, I call it Laura Ximena Guerra. We do cooking for homeless people, because although we have institutions here in Berlin taking care of them, there are many people that cannot go to the institution, to the place. And also, I think we think that it's important to give warmth and show them they are not invisible. We are seeing them, and we care about them. And so we have been doing this, just going, cooking, and going out there and giving food and love and clothes, warm clothes. So if one of you wants to do it together one day, it's a wonderful experience. And this came also like after this installation was even more sort of, I could understand even more the word of homeless people, because I was occupying a public space in the front of UDK, is the most important art university here, maybe. And so I did these greenhouses that were shining green, so green houses. And they were, each of them, they had like an educational aspect. So I was trying to explain sort of this cycle of the sustainability cycle, how our food, or how the food waste comes back to us, or it's involved in the water. So I had it's called Water Conservation Project. One of the houses I did with the Berliner Stadtreinigung. And so this house is, just imagine, it's 11 meters 50. And so it's huge house, and half of it was filled with plastic bottles that are consumed in Berlin every 5 minutes. Wow. So, it's like crazy. So this, the whole place would be full of plastic bottles. It's just like in just 1 hour, the whole square. And it's like scary. And when you see that, and it was like also for me very important that the Berliner Stadtreinigung did a statement, because many people, they said, I'm already recycling, and I put my garbage there in the right place and it's done, and it's not, and they cannot like, the plastic is going to stay there, and this was there, everything written, explained that this plastic is going to be microplastic in 450 years, and it will never go away, and it will come back to us, and it goes to water. This is also a big problem that all the water companies from all the planet have to solve, right? The microplastic. So it's causing also infertility in men as well, in men and women, like not only pesticides as many of us know, but also like the plastic. So this is sort of like alarming, and it was like a sort of, people enjoyed to come to see, and I got like 100 students coming every Tuesday and Thursday. And so I was making like the tour, explaining every house, and they left a message. Like the last one was like what we potentially could do, some sort of bringing up some ideas and making us like also part of this, and not only sort of like observing the world going down. So I always like this idea that we are involved in the change, that we have the chance to change something, and that this is also positive. That's also like, because without the hope, we are lost. So we needed to have this hope and feel this empathy, and feel we are together. So then this was like about the last house. And this is like the seeds, because as I said, I work with some organic farmers, and I see like the urgency to talk about the seeds. And so this is the topic of the Food Art Week this year as well. And I have been exploring, I'm doing like a different formats. I did at Café here in Berlin, a dinner, where, as for example, just was a dinner that people got there. It was like on the plate was a seed growing. And then we had a performative dinner. So people came and gave the bill for the people, for the guests. And on the bill was written, if we don't preserve the seeds, they will disappear. And within them, life on earth. This is the price we will all have to pay. And so sort of like this is sort of like the way the way I thought that maybe could make people think about, because if you say like, alles wird gut, it's all fine, you know, we are going to make it, and then it's sort of like it's too comfortable, and I don't know, I feel just like we have urgent to do something, and so I'm trying. I try to do something like that, but also, you know, working with kids, you cannot work like that. So it's a totally different approach when I have to work with kids, and also when you don't have the language. So we are on the time. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trying sort of like creating installations or creating activities. And the next one here in Berlin is going to be on the Earth Day, 22nd of April. And I'm again occupying a public space, and I'm there with my students. I have a very motivated students from the public school, call it Friedensburg Oberschule. And we are doing like sort of, we are building up a mobile kitchen. And we are, so this is here, yeah, me today, like just, yeah, this is all kind of like things that I'm exploring, and I'm excited to be here today because you were coming from a different background than me, and I thought that maybe, yeah, it would be interesting to figure out if we can somehow come together and do something and create something and find other languages and like new languages that could promote positive change in different ways. I just think it's worth trying. As I said, even working as a model brought me something. Yeah. And this is like sort of my motivation, that I think it's worth that we get together to do something, to preserve our planet. And we can do this by cooking our future together. Thank you very much.
So first of all, wow. I thought that I'm working hard. How can you manage all the things together? You are a very, very active person since the age of 13. So I hope, first of all, that this is already an inspiration, especially for the students that are thinking that they are studying hard. Just for you to see that it's only the fraction of the day, and I hope that you have really brought some good inspiration for me, definitely, but this is not a kunst. For them, I hope so as well. I also hope that the students have got inspired in order to be more active and to see how many options there are to do something also when you are not an artist like you, because not everyone is a talented artist.
We are all like born creative. Our nature is creative, and we are all potentially artists. It is not like my idea, like many people thought about that, including the big Joseph Beuys.
And also to see that art you can be part of the art. You know, there are human installations, there are performance, so to say, human performances that are coming to an installation with the purpose to raise awareness, or, you know, to show the, so I hope that they will also keep in touch. We will definitely keep in touch, and to see how can we work together as a citizen. Yeah.
There's one project I'm doing, you know, like when I've been to Kathmandu, I was living in a temple, and I was like crying so hard every day. And my mom said, "Come back, pack your stuff, so you're having a breakdown." And it's really like shocking, the reality, how you know, you see like this luxury business, like people pay $50,000 to climb the Himalaya, just the permission. And then they hire like people to carry their stuff. They leave all the garbage there, you know, in the place, and then to make the selfie. And and then you look around, people wearing masks, because the air is so polluted, and there is no garbage management, no bins on the whole city, and there's like kids, beautiful people, like without shoes, without clothes, like just like the water, so it's so dirty, in all this beautiful culture, and then you go to the sacred places and you see Hindus, Buddhists all together, no fights. It's like, and then you listen to the stories, because I was in a Buddhist temple, then talking like the Tibetans, how they are suffering, like, and then I got like sort of, okay, I can't do anything. It's like just the problem is much larger than in Brazil, because like in Brazil you have the concentrated in the favelas, these two words that I said, but there it's like everything. And I came back, and then after recovering, I got an idea. I found, like, I started there to meet like a lot of people, because 90% of the NGOs, they don't work. I met a guy that is like a very popular on Instagram and everything, like a jet setter, and the guy, he got like $5 million donation after the earthquake, and he still don't know what to do with the money. And so I just got like so disappointed and so frustrated, and I said, okay, I started to go into NGOs to meet people, and I found a man that started to build up a clinic in the Himalayas with wood and stones from the forest, without any money, with his friends. And I posted on my Instagram. It's like Tataisgram, if you want to have a look. But like, it looked like these ants, carrying this like 10 times bigger stuff, going there. And the clinic is almost done. And I decided now, because when I started helping to build up this clinic, it was just like the first stones.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm helping, and the way I found to help him was to convince doctors here to place a donation box. So people donate €1, and that's nothing for them, and it's making a big difference. So the clinic is like, it's there already, kind of like almost set, this missing like the beds and the stuff inside the equipment, but like sort of just like a simple ideas, because like UNICEF, they are good, but they have means, they have like a marketing budget. They can help like finding people to give money. They are even in EasyJet, Ryanair, I don't know. But this guy, he cannot help himself, and and I'm not doing any effort. I'm here, and the donation box is getting filled. So it's like not that I'm doing much, and I say, okay, I'm helping, but I'm not really helping. I mean, I'm helping. I'm taking the money.
The first help is that you are aware of that. Most of the people are living in a bubble, like you say, but you are exploring. You are going there. You are feeling the suffering of the other people. You got a breakdown from this. Not every person in life will take his life and go to the temple or go to this. So first of all, do not underestimate, because it doesn't come like that. I have few ideas of my frustrations, because you spoke about the waste and the unbalanced, and the money, the 50,000 or the 5 million or the people who do not have. So I have a little bit frustration about the UN and the spending of the money not effectively and unnecessarily. Sorry, this is not for the cameras, maybe. But we are here and open, and everyone can say whatever he wants and whatever she feels, and I have a big mouth. So if you, I have a dream. I have a dream to make like some kind of how do you call it, a mob flash installation, whatever, to come to give it in their face, because they are like hypocritically trying to help so like many things, but at the end of the day, nothing happens really, except of like spending like $500 million a year only on flights to come to a meeting in Geneva, which is the most expensive city already in the world because all the UN is there. Spending, each person has 100 assistants with salaries, with food, car diem, and so on and so on. I remember that it was talked a little bit when we had the Syrian crisis, and they talked there, and they had another talk over there, and all the talks, and people said that only 27 million euros were spent on flights in order to talk the one talk on this, and it was so frustrating for me. So that, not speaking about the jets, the oil, the everything unsustainable, so to say. Yeah. And we are actually, at the end of the day, we are sponsoring that from the taxes, from our sources that are coming to the countries, and so on and so on. And if we could take this money in a direct way, like we want to, and invest it in things that we are really important, and not to do all the way on the mail that is burning all the sources, and at the end nothing is happened. So I have a dream to do this kind of installation, not for the whole world, first of all for them to see, maybe to have some shame, and see in the world that people will see that, and they will not have a choice. And believe me, we will put this box, and every person that is working there will put, he can even put 10 euros a day, not 1 euro a day, but even 1 euro a day, and all of them, and we start with that, we can come also to a lot of help. So, but this is my dream that I wanted to share as well. But I'm sure that, thank you. I'm sure that every one of us, if we think about it and so on, we can come with an ideas and dreams, But what we need to realize, and you are the inspiration for that it can be not only a dream, because if you are active, we cannot expect that everyone will be as active as Tainá. But if we come together, and Tainá is here, and you have a small idea, and everyone, a lot of cultural diplomacy is about working together, sharing bread of ideas as well, not only of food, not only sharing spaces like we are doing, and so on, sharing platform, but also, there is the point of the soup of stones, like the village that they didn't have any food, and one smart old guy came and said, okay, we are going to cook a stone soup for all the village. So everyone told him, what can we do? We cannot eat a soup from a stone, and nothing will happen. And he started to boil water and put some stones. And then one came from one house. Okay, I have 1 carrot. Let's put the 1 carrot inside the soup. It will make it a little bit better. And then another one came. Okay, I have a zucchini, 1 petrozilia, a little bit. And all together, at the end of the day, they could cook a soup that could feed, the 1,000 people. So, like that, we can also share a little bit of ideas, and at the end, make a small change. Maybe it will be a small change at one time. Don't be, desperate. Oh, nothing will change. It will be a small change, and so on. Because many small changes, we saw that in the world, also in the last years, brought revolutions already. So, just for you to know that we can be part of revolution from this place or another, or part of a change. So, before I have any questions to Tainá. So I want to thank you very much for the big inspiration, and really I hope that it's only a start of some connections and doing some things together.
Yes.
So thank you very much for
Thank you. Thank you.